Welcome back to Dash Explore. If you've missed our last couple of videos, we just got back from a weekend road trip from Richmond, Virginia, all the way down to Jacksonville, Florida. We just made the 9.5-hour trip back from Jacksonville yesterday, and after we got unpacked and got the girls settled and in bed, we sat down and kind of reflected on all the mistakes we made and the things that we learned on this trip. So I'm here to share with you the 4 things that we learned on our first long-haul family road trip. So the first thing that we learned that we were kind of already aware of going into the trip, and that I shared in our 6.5 things that you must have on any road trip, as well as the 7 more things that we shared on any road trip, and that is to know your kids. And that was definitely proven to us on this trip that it is really important to know what your kids do and don't like as far as entertainment, snacks, things that calm them down, things that comfort them. That is something that is going to make your road trip so much easier. Being prepared with things like audiobooks or tablets or songs and a playlist, any of that stuff that you know that your child is going to like, make sure you are prepared and that you bring that along with you. You will also obviously learn a lot about your children while being on a road trip. Putting them in new situations is going to bring out new environments for them and new things that they have not experienced before. So you're definitely going to learn something on this trip, but use the things that you know about your child so that you can make it as comfortable and as easy of a trip for them as you possibly can. The next thing we learned from this trip is the importance of not being in a rush on a road trip. We had originally planned to leave yesterday morning at 9 o'clock, and there was no reason for that. We just kind of figured, it's a deadline to get us out of the house. And unfortunately, we didn't even get out of the house until 9:45. So we were, behind schedule already. And if we were trying to rush home for something, then that would have put a lot of stress on the trip. It would have put a stress on Andrew as the driver trying to get us home. And it also would have been a problem every time that one of us needed to go to the bathroom. We would have felt like, can we stop? Can we push it a little bit longer? All of that stuff would have added a lot of stress to the trip. So if you are planning a road trip, I would really, really stress trying to not have any sort of time crunch on your road trip. Having the flexibility to stop and go to the bathroom, to stop and get a snack when somebody's hungry. It made the trip go so much smoother. It was so easy. We didn't feel like we were behind at all. It made the whole trip more relaxing for everybody. So if you can avoid being in a rush, I highly, highly recommend it. The next thing we learned on this road trip is that I think we need some better backseat organization. One of our biggest problems is that the girls love to take their shoes off in the car. And I'm totally fine with that, especially on a longer road trip. We're going to be in the car for a while. Absolutely get comfortable. If that makes the trip go easier, please take your shoes off. But our problem was when we would show up at a restaurant to eat or a rest stop to go to the bathroom, we couldn't find their shoes. They would just fall down in the toys and the chaos that was under their seats, and that kind of became stressful, is just having to constantly find their shoes. So going into our next road trip, we are going to try to find some kind of bag or something that we can attach to the headrest, or some system where we can stick them in the pockets in the back of the seats, maybe in a bag too, just to keep the shoes together because they tended to separate. So we are going to look for some kind of better shoe organization for their stuff. And also I mentioned backseat organization, just trying to keep, our cleanup kit in a very easy to access place, the diaper bag, the snacks, coming up with some better system that we can easily grab those things while we're on the road, instead of just kind of the chaos that we had going on in the backseat. And then the last thing that we learned on this trip that was easily the biggest mistake that we made on this road trip, and that was not packing efficiently for our stop halfway on our way down to Jacksonville. So if you watched our earlier videos about this trip, we stopped halfway on our way down to Jacksonville. We drove about 4.5 hours away from home, and I did not pack our bags separately. So everything that everybody needed was in their own suitcase or their own bag. So we brought our entire trunk into the hotel for that one night. We got there, I think, at like 10 o'clock at night, and we left at 8 o'clock the next morning, something like that. So we had to completely unload and reload our car for that night. So if you are doing any kind of pit stop halfway, or if you're doing a longer road trip where you're stopping every night, maybe trying to have like one suitcase that is the overnight bag and swapping things out as you go. I don't know. There's got to be a better system for it. I'm sure someone out there has done it better, but if you are making one pit stop for sure on your road trip, make sure to pack like the sound machines, the toothbrushes, the pajamas, the diapers, pull-ups, whatever you need in one bag. So you just have to bring that one suitcase out, because I did not do that, and that was a huge mistake. So I think those are our big takeaways from our 9.5-hour road trip down to Jacksonville. Again, I'm so proud of the girls. They did such a great job. It was a long day for all of us, but as you can see from all of the clips from our trip, no one ever really felt stressed. It was never really hard. And I do think a lot of that is because we do travel fairly often in the car. They're used to being in the car for 2, 3, 4 hours at a time. So I think that definitely helps to build endurance. And if you're planning a road trip, maybe start small and do something that's an hour away if you can, instead of just jumping right into 9 hours, because that is really tough. But overall, I'm really excited about how our road trip went, and I'm looking forward to many more road trips in the future. And thank you guys so much for coming along on our road trip with us. I hope that you learned something, or that you are getting excited for your upcoming road trip. And if you have any other questions, comments, thoughts about road trips, or even suggestions of things you and your family do, please leave them in the comments below. I love learning from other people. I love having new ideas to try, so I appreciate any and all input you guys can give us. So thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed today's content, if you could give this video a like, we would really appreciate it. And if you're enjoying all of our content and want to follow along for more family travel tips and family travel inspiration, you can subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so that you can get notified when we post new videos. You can also head over to Instagram and follow us at @explore. Thanks so much again for watching today, and we'll catch you in the next one.